Welcome back. We are still on the topic quadratic functions. In the previous video, we solved a question on solving quadratic equations. In this video, we are going to learn how to find a quadratic equation when the roots or the solution of the equation is given to you. Finding a quadratic equation when the roots are given. From the previous videos, we have learned that the roots of a quadratic equation is the solution of the quadratic equation. So when you solve a quadratic equation, the answers that you get are known as the roots or the solution of the quadratic equation. Now, when you are given the roots or the solution of a quadratic equation, how do you find the quadratic equation itself? When the roots or the solution of a quadratic equation with variable x are given, the equation can be written as x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal to 0. Now, as you can see here, this quadratic equation has a variable x. So, when the variable in the quadratic equation is y, the equation will be written as y squared minus sum of roots y plus product of roots is equal to 0. So when the variable is y, the variable x here changes to y, as we can see here. When the variable is n, the equation is written as n squared minus sum of roots n plus product of roots. So you are going to write the equation depending on the variable in the quadratic equation. Okay, so all that you have to know is that when you are given the roots or the solution of a quadratic equation with a variable x, then the equation is written as x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots. As you have seen, the variable here depends on the variable in the equation. We are saying that the variable is x, so you have x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal to 0. Remember that sum is the same as addition and product is the same as multiplication. Let's apply this formula to solve some questions. Find the quadratic equation with the following roots. We have been given 6 questions here. We will solve the first 3 in this video, then we will solve the others in the next video. In each one of these examples, we will assume that the variable in the equation is x. Okay, so let's begin with the first one. Find the quadratic equation with roots 5 and 7. From the previous slide, we have seen that if the variable in a quadratic equation is x and the roots of the quadratic equation are given, the equation can be written as x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal to 0. So our equation is x squared minus sum of roots. That means that we have to add the roots. The roots are 5 and 7, so we add them. So we have x squared minus 5 plus 7, you close the bracket, x plus product of roots. That means we have to multiply the roots. So 5 times 7, and this is equal to 0. Now this will give us x squared minus 5 plus 7 is 12. So you have x squared minus 12x plus 5 times 7 is 35. So plus 35 is equal to 0. So the quadratic equation with roots 5 and 7 is x squared minus 12x plus 35 is equal to 0. You can see that it's very, very simple. Let's move on to the next example. Find the quadratic equation with roots 0 and 6. Remember that I said in each one of these examples, we are going to assume that the variable is x. So if the variable is x, then the equation is giving us x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal to 0. The roots are 0 and 6. So you have x squared minus sum of roots, so 0 plus 6x plus product of roots 0 times 6 is equal to 0. 0 plus 6 will give us 6. 0 times 6 will give us 0. So you have x squared minus 6x, since 0 plus 6 is 6. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 0 times 6 is 0. So plus 0 is equal to 0. And this will give us x squared minus 6x is equal to 0. So the quadratic equation with roots 0 and 6 is x squared minus 6x is equal to 0. Let's look at the last question for this video. Find the quadratic equation with roots minus 3 and 2. So the equation is giving us x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal to 0. The roots are minus 3 and 2. Okay, so you have x squared minus, into bracket, we will add the roots, so minus 3 plus 2x plus product of roots, so we multiply the roots, minus 3 times 2, then is equal to 0. Now this will give us x squared minus 3 plus 2 give us minus 1. So we have x squared minus, into bracket, minus 1x. Then minus 3 times 2 give us minus 6. So you have plus minus 6, and that will give us minus 6. We learned that in algebra. So we are having x squared minus, into bracket, minus 1x minus 6 is equal to 0. Remember that the minus we have here can be written as minus 1. So we will have x squared minus 1, into bracket, minus 1x minus 6 is equal to 0. Minus 1 times minus 1x will give us positive 1. So you have x squared plus 1x minus 6 is equal to 0. 1x is the same as x. So this will give us x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So the quadratic equation with roots minus 3 plus 2 is x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. You can see that when you are given the roots of the quadratic equation and you are asked to find the equation itself, it's very simple. If the variable in the equation is x, then the equation is giving us x squared minus sum of roots x plus product of roots is equal to 0. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. At the beginning of this video, we had 6 questions and we have solved 3 of them. We will solve the remaining 3 in the next video. So see you in the next video where we will continue solving the questions. Bye bye.